What's going on, everybody? What's going on? It is Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. And today we got a new entry into the Triple P, I guess you could say, Hall of Shame. Hannah Payne. Now, what's interesting is I just talked about her in a live stream last week when the trial was ongoing. I forgot what day they were on in the trial, but they were a couple days in. And here we are, fast forward to today, where last night breaking news came through that she was found guilty on all counts in the murder of Kenneth Herring. Now, I found out about this when someone DM'd it to me on Discord, and the story was about an hour old when they sent it to me. And I immediately made the thumbnail for today, and here we are. But before we go ahead and get into it, let me go ahead and acknowledge the people who are in here so far. We have Tamisha Godfrey, Angie E, Cool Spider, Craig Colson, Jerry Bedford, the Jaded Libra guy, Irvin Green, Demarcus Vaughn, Dow M for Movies, Wallow J, Denise Scale, Savion Draco Zero, some chick named Star, the Atavis, Cool Spider, Revolutionary 2, Cosma Fury, Catsy, Cool Spider, DJ 69 Candles, Cedric Etheridge, some chick named Star, Shatira, D. Foster, August Dreams, DeAngelis Mullen, Tori Tate, Queen Imani, Queen Imani, I'm sorry, C. Archer, J. Cage, Emmanuel Briggs, Bot Boy, Dee Phoenix. And shout out to anyone else who will be coming through. So this has been a long time coming, y'all. This is a story that has been in the news since 2019 when it first happened. I believe it was 2019 when this happened, where you had this PC woman who could not mind her business named Hannah Payne, who got into it with this elder black man by the name of Kenneth Herring, who was 62, who had a car accident with another driver because I believe he was having a medical emergency and it caused him to crash. And instead of her getting medical attention or help for this man, she decides to antagonize the situation further and try to come and throw the cape on for the PC guy that Kenneth Herring got into the accident with, and try to make it seem like it was Kenneth Herring's fault and like he intentionally did it when he did not do it, and decided to get into it with this man that unfortunately led to this woman pulling out her gun and shooting Kenneth Herring, later killing him. So that's pretty much the summarized version of it. This has been something that's been hanging in the balance for a couple of years now. I think with the pandemic hitting in 2020, that also put a lot of cases on hold. And then, they were gathering all evidence and stuff like that. And it kind of went cold a little bit because a lot of people didn't even know this was on trial right now, to be quite honest. And they kept it real hush-hush, but one thing we know is not quiet is that this woman has been found guilty on all counts. And by the way, it was 8 counts that she was found guilty on. A few of those counts were felony charges. So that's a very big deal. So shout out to Law and Crime, by the way, the Law and Crime YouTube channel, because they actually streamed the entire trial on their YouTube channel. I believe the trial was like 9 days. They streamed all 9 days on their YouTube channel. Like if you wanted to watch it, the entire thing, you would be on Law and Crime because they streamed the entire trial. Now, of course, clearly today we're not going to go through all of that. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to play on the Fox 5 Atlanta YouTube channel the reading of the verdict. Now, the video itself is about 11 and a half minutes long. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Because I did put in the title call-in show, because I know people going to have something to say as it pertains to this. This will be my first time actually listening to them read the verdict to her. I've seen pictures of her acting very dramatic in the courtroom, trying to push out tears and whatnot. But I personally have not watched it yet. So we are all going to watch this together and see what the reaction is, because really this is more for reactionary purposes than anything. So I'm going to go ahead and present my screen and go to the page. Let me enlarge it. Also, let me make sure that the speed is up. Okay. So here it is right here. Hannah Payne found guilty on all counts, full verdict. It's about, like it says, about 11 and a half minutes long. So let's go ahead and not waste any time.
Okay, the court has been informed that the jury has arrived at a verdict, and so I'm going to bring them in at this time. Bailiff in his case. So in the case State versus Hannah Rainier Payne, case number 2019 CR 01737, court has been informed that you have reached a verdict. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, we have.
Okay, and are you the foreperson?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you kindly stand. Was your verdict unanimous?
Yes, ma'am.
Has a verdict form been filled in, signed, and dated by you?
Yes, ma'am.
If you would have the bailiff bring the verdict form to you, please. Mr. Foreperson, if you would go ahead and read the verdict.
With regard to count one, as to the offense of malice murder, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. With regard to count two, as to the offense of felony murder, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. With regard to count three, as to the offense of aggravated assault, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. With regard to count four, as the offense of felony murder, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. With regard to count five, as the offense of false imprisonment, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. With regard to count six, as to the offense of possession of firearm during commission of a felony, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. With regard to count seven, as to the offense of possession of firearm during commission of a felony, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. With regard to count eight, as to the offense of possession of firearm during commission of a felony, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. Respectfully submitted, the 12th day of December, 2023.
Counsels, is there anything further required of this jury before I dismiss them?
The court can hold the jury.
Okay, I will hold the jury. So I'm just going to go sequentially and ask you a number of questions to which you will respond. Foreperson, was that your verdict in the jury room?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Next person.
Now, let me pause this right quick. So y'all just heard right there, they read all of the counts off that y'all could hear. There were 8 of them. And she was found guilty on all 8. Unanimous decision. That means they all collectively heard everything that was said and determined without the shadow of a doubt that Hannah Payne was guilty of everything she was charged with. Shout out to that jury. And it didn't take them days to come to this verdict either. They came to this verdict in a matter of hours.
Was that your verdict in the jury room?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Was that your verdict in the jury room?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that your verdict in the jury room?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Fake tears. Look at that. She ain't push out no one tear. Shout out to Dowlin for movies because she said it earlier. Didn't push out now one tear. The only thing that changed is her facial expression. She went from pale to beet red. And to my knowledge, because from what I've saw in some of the comments, people who was watching the trial, they said that, like, you know, she was acting kind of arrogant. Not surprised by that either.
Was that your verdict in the jury room? Yes, ma'am. Was it freely and voluntarily made by you? Yes, ma'am. Is it still your verdict? Yes, ma'am. Was that your verdict in the jury room? Yes, ma'am. Was it freely and voluntarily made by you? Yes, ma'am. Is it still your verdict? Yes, ma'am. Was that your verdict in the jury room? Was it freely and voluntarily made by you? Yes, ma'am. Is it still your verdict? Yes, ma'am. Was that your verdict in the jury room?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
I want y'all to pay attention to the landscape of this room right quick. Y'all may not have picked up on this, and somebody actually pointed this out in the chat before the stream even got started. So we have on the far left of the screen with the glasses on, the black woman right there. She is the attorney on the behalf of Kenneth Herring's family. If you look around the room, I count 1, 2, 3, 4 black bailiffs and 1 black judge. Just thought I should point that out to y'all.
Was that your verdict in the jury room?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it still your verdict?
And yes, they had an overwhelming amount of black jurors as well.
Was that your verdict in the jury room?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that your verdict in the jury room? Was it freely and voluntarily made by you? Is it still your verdict? Was that your verdict in the jury room?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it freely and voluntarily made by you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
I have polled the jurors.
That must have to feel like a jab. That must feel like multiple jabs towards Hannah Payne. The fact that not only did she just hear that she was found guilty on all 8 counts of what she was charged of, but that this judge is asking every juror, was this your unanimous decision? And are you still fine with that decision? She has to ask every juror that, and every juror going down the line is saying yes to both questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have now concluded your service on this jury. You're no longer subject to or bound by the instructions that I've previously given to you about not talking to anyone about this case. You're now free to talk to anyone you like about the case and the decision that your jury has reached. By the same token, you're not required to speak with anyone about this case. That is your decision. However, sometimes the attorneys like to talk with you to ascertain your views about the evidence and inputs from how they could improve. But again, you're not required to speak to anyone about the case. That is purely your decision. Again, thank you for your service and your commitment to your jury duty this week. You are free to go. Right, you'll be outside the courtroom? Okay. You may be seated. Ms. Payne, I'm going to remand you into the custody of the Sheriff's Department at this time.
Oh snap! I didn't repeat the other 2 black security. So that's 5-6. I'm just saying the optics of this whole thing is very interesting. Like, We rarely ever see anything play out like this. Rarely ever see anything play out the way that it's playing out right now as y'all are seeing it on your screen.
Councils, what I do want to do at this time is set a date for the sentencing. My proposed date is December 20th, which is next Wednesday. Yes.
And look at her family crying because their daughter is a whole criminal and is actually facing time or will be facing time for her crimes. Imagine how many tears Kenneth Herring's family had to cry for days, for weeks, for months in the last few years behind what your daughter did. If she would have just abided by what I put in the title of this video of minding her business, she wouldn't be in this position right now. So I don't feel bad for her tears, whatever, if you want to call it that, and I don't feel bad for theirs. Do you know how many Black families have shed tears in courtrooms and never got the justice they deserved on the behalf of their loved ones? Exception meet rule. Or should I say rule meet exception?
Okay. If there are any changes, we will let you know.
Is there any possible way that we can have this done on Friday? I know you're already having court, and I'm already, the family's in from out of town.
Shout out to VVinny01 for the 100 super chat. Put some flames in the chat for VVinny. He said justice. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
And they've traveled, and we are putting them up, and
Okay.
supposed to be here. Just for their convenience, we would request that this is be on the 15th.
Okay. I believe I can accommodate that.
I have both counties at 9 in the morning. My afternoon is wide open, where I can after when that case releases.
Okay.
I think this will be a continuation of the trial. We'd still be on trial, so this will take precedence.
Okay. I can accommodate the 15th. I just need to see what we have 9 o'clock on Friday, correct? We could do it after.
Okay, so what y'all just heard right there, they're discussing when they're going to do the sentencing. So the sentencing for Hannah Payne will be this Friday. You know, a lot of times they like to prolong it or whatever, but no, the sentencing for Hannah Payne will be on Friday. But of course, I go live on Friday at 6. So hopefully by the time I go live, the sentencing will already be passed down, and I'll just incorporate it into my live stream along with the other topics instead of just making it a whole separate live stream.
We could do it after. I could consider 10 o'clock on Friday morning. Okay. All right. Thank you. Court stands adjourned at this time. Thank you all.
All right. So that's pretty much it. That is pretty much the whole thing right there. Shout out to them for getting it right. For getting that right. But I know y'all want something to say or have something to say about this, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop the link for y'all. I just wanted to play that because I know that that too, good point, Kid Gravity, because they want to get this thing done before they go on that break. So that's the StreamYard link right there. If anybody would like to come up and voice their opinion about what y'all just saw, or the case as a whole, or the story as a whole, feel free to come on up. And of course, the first one up.
How you doing, Torian?
I'm doing good.
But yeah, man, justice, sweet justice has come for our boy Kenneth. I do send my condolences to his family, but I also saw a story. I don't know if you saw it, not anybody in the chat saw it. About they said that he had hit her and she drove after him. I thought that story was.
Yeah, it wasn't accurate, because the thing that really hurt her and was key evidence to the story was that somebody because this happened out in the open. At first, I thought it happened at night, but it happened apparently during the day. Somebody saw what was going on because she was out in the open. It was during like traffic. Somebody pulled out their phone and literally recorded her doing what she did. So any type of story that she could have came up with that could have been a lie got debunked with that video. That video footage that someone recorded of her was key evidence to finding her guilty. They couldn't they couldn't go against that. Like there was no words that she could have gave or any way that her attorneys could have twisted it to make her seem like she was like some innocent, delicate person or trying to do the right thing or save somebody. It was no way that that was going to work because that video is literally what incriminated her in the end.
Right, because they also said that they played the 911 call, which the dispatcher told her not to follow him, and she did not listen and follow him anyway. Because if it was at a traffic stop, then most likely the traffic light would have got his license plate, and they would have went from there.
Yeah, like people were saying in the chat, and like people were saying in the chat, like even back then when this first happened, and I was reading the details, I said, "Oh, she tried to pull. Oh, she was basically doing another George Zimmerman."
Mm-hmm. That's what her ass get. I don't feel nothing for her or her family at all because that's her dumb ass fault. But I'm gonna get off, Torian. Everybody have a great day. I'm still at work, but shout out to everybody in the chat. I'll be back in the chat, man.
Appreciate it. Shout out to Wallow J for coming up. Cosmo Fury, I see you're down there in the queue, but it says device is not connected. I saw that you was there before. I don't know if something else got disconnected or whatever the case may be. But if you get that fixed, you can come right on. I'll bring you in. I think Jay Lethal was asking the chat or people in the chat what was the story. Well, Jay Lethal, basically, this story is about a woman, a PC woman named Hannah Payne, who back in 2019 did not mind her business. And she thought she was going to play Super Bitch because that was literally my nickname for her at the time. It still is now, technically. And she basically tried to throw the cape on for this PC man who got into an accident with a black man named Kenneth Herring. And she took it upon herself to, quote unquote, save the day by taking out her firearm and shooting Kenneth Herring in his car. Now, to my knowledge, Kenneth Herring was having a medical emergency, which caused the accident. And she shot and killed this man right there. And then she kept trying to say it was self-defense. Like, it was a whole bunch of stuff. Like, you have to like really go back and look at it or go on to Law and Crime and look at the actual trial, because the trial will break it down way better than I could. But that's just basically the lead up to this. And like somebody else was saying in the chat, this whole time that she was this whole time that this was going on, she was on house arrest for the longest. She was on house arrest for the longest time, except for when she had to go to court. But that's basically the summarized version of it. Now, if you want to go watch the trial on Law and Crime, then it'll go into even more detail and it'll really break it down for you. But that's basically the summarization of it. Okay, Cosmo got his stuff together. What's going on?
Not much, man. You see, I'm at work.
Cool.
Yeah, this whole situation. Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You just said that he never left his car.
Right.
So she was in court this whole time saying that she felt her life was in danger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, this is more the reason why, even if there was a situation, you're supposed to record the license plate and report as such. Somebody hit my car while I was parked, and guess what the person did that gave me the license plate number? They didn't chase the person down. They didn't try to take the law into their hand. Guess what they did? They gave me the information. The police did their work. I got my insurance paid for it.
Right.
That simple. And let's see how much piss and vinegar she had if that was a man, if Mr. Herring was another PC man.
Exactly. That's
So,
like that's literally all it was for me. When I found out that the person that who was driving the other car had got hit, I said, "Oh, okay, now it's really all coming together for me."
and then she did the police thing, like she like barricaded him in and make sure he couldn't go nowhere. Like you doing all these tactics and stuff. I mean, what are you, George Zimmerman and Eric Casebolt? Remember Eric Casebolt?
Yeah.
The cop that was trying to do all those barrel rolls and shit, like he was a Power Ranger.
Exactly.
Yep. Well, To cut it short, I feel nothing. Guilty on all counts. Like you said, it gotta hurt that they pulled. There was nobody with any type of remorse. Everybody was like,
Right.
no, I stand in. I said what I said. She guilty.
Exactly.
And I don't want to hear no PC person saying it's unfair because if that's the case, let everybody out now that's in there. There's somebody that just got exonerated again. I think Chicago for a crime he did 35 years. A black man did 35 years for something he didn't do. So
Yeah.
I don't want to hear nothing about unfair from the family.
Exactly.
Goodbye, happy trails. But I gotta get back to work, y'all.
All right. No problem. Appreciate
All
you
right,
coming up.
no problem.
Shout out to Cosmo for coming up. But yeah, he's right. Like, and for those of y'all who are new to the case, he was like new to the story. He was giving some more additional stuff. Like, this woman is a trip and a half, and not in a good way. So yeah, she got everything she deserved. But like I said, if anyone else would like to come up, I pinned the link at the top of the chat, and you can go ahead and click it and come on up. I'll probably keep it on for maybe the next 20 minutes. And of course, like I said, I'll be on the lookout for the sentencing. They said it's going to happen on Friday. And like I said, if they talk about it, hopefully before I go live at 6 on Friday, I will incorporate it into my Friday live stream. Then he said no Christmas for her or her family. They'll be they'll have a plate glass between both of them when it's all said and done. Let's see. We got some stir fry. What's going on, Kid Gravity?
What's up, man?
Chefing it up.
I told you I'm making something she'll never eat again. So yeah. But anyway. Yeah, this was Atlanta News was really trying to keep this hidden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, this whole trial was really kept on the low.
Oh yeah.
If people didn't send me stuff, or if I just didn't consistently type her name into Google, then I wouldn't have known about this. Like I said, when I talked about this on last Friday, they was already on like day 3 of the trial.
Yes, sir. They all worried about YSL all day.
True. But that's fine. But that's fine because us over here at the New Black Media, we gonna dig.
Oh yeah. I mean, this broad. I mean, everybody. You know what? I was gonna say something wrong, but I'm not gonna do that. I got too much respect for this platform. But you know what? She'll be fine where she's at. I mean, the black inmates will take care of her.
Define take care.
They'll take care of her. That's all we're gonna say.
Right, exactly. That's what I said. Define take care.
But I have to give X credit. A lot of people were not on there. Most people were like, "Listen, she deserved it."
Mm-hmm.
It was actually on code for once, but I think it's because he was an old dude.
Yeah.
And they still got reverence for old people.
Yeah, he was 60. He was 62.
Because if it was around our age, they would try to justify it.
And also, Pete, someone had wrote in the chat too. I had caught it, but I didn't acknowledge it because I wanted to wait until the end of the video. Someone said, "I hope the judge don't get up and give her a hug. She ain't get up from that bench. She ain't get up from that bench."
she got up was to go in her office before lunch.
Right, and like I said, did you peep the optics though? Literally, literally, Kenneth Herring's family had a black female attorney, they had a black female judge, and all those black security.
Oh yeah, you don't do crimes.
And then most of the jury makeup was black themselves.
Yeah, you don't do crimes like that in Atlanta and think you're gonna get an all-white jury. I think that's what they were hoping for. Yeah. But hey, at least she'll be somewhere warm for Christmas.
Yep, she gonna be there with her 3 walls. I don't count the cell door as a wall. And her three hots in the cot.
And her roommate.
Right, her cellmate.
Which we are still hoping is black.
Listen, that would be the icing on the cake.
We had like in February for Valentine's Day, she got an ass kicked by her black cellmate.
Yeah, but I'm anticipating to see what that verdict, I mean, not the verdict, what the sentencing is going to be. Because again, some of those charges that she was found guilty of were felony charges.
Yeah, well,
It
everybody
was,
was saying hopefully she gets life without possibility of parole.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, we know, like with her being found guilty on all those counts, some of those being felonies, she's going to do some time, even if it isn't life. Even though, in my opinion, it should be, but it's my opinion. It's not up to me. But she's definitely going to get some time. Like I predict that she's going to have around the same range, or maybe even more than what Derek Chauvin has.
Nah, I think she's gonna get more because it's the
Okay.
South. But I'm curious, and I know this might sound a little fucked up, but I'm curious to hear what she's gonna say during her sentencing. Because they do give the.
Oh yeah, they do let her get those last words in.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, those last words don't mean nothing because the sentencing is already made up before they even get to the courtroom.
Yeah, but it's that last gasp. Maybe the family in a few years will say, you know what, she suffered enough. Nah, I ain't trying to hear that.
Latonda says she got that malice charge. That's 15 years right there.
Oh yeah. They don't play down here in the South with you stalking somebody. But like I said, she'll be somewhere nice and warm for Christmas. That Christmas in a can is gonna be good, and maybe her and Amber Geiger could be pen pals.
Wow.
Just saying. But yeah, let me go back to the stir fry. Keep up the good work, man.
Appreciate it. Shout out to you. Shout out to Kid Gravity for coming up. Let me see. It was a comment I saw in here. Microwave said, I like how you put that. I had to read that like in slow motion to catch it. It says Microwave 2.0. He said, what up, Tony? I'm trying to come up, but it keeps saying reset the browser. What kind of browser are you using? Because I know I'm using Chrome. And I know like StreamYards can be real funny with depending on what type of browser that you use. But I'm using Chrome. And for this stream, I pretty much use Chrome all the time anyway. In my opinion, Chrome, is the best browser. But again, if anybody else would like to come up, the link is posted at the top. I'm gonna probably keep this going until about 12:50. It's 12:37 now Eastern time. So go ahead and click the link if anybody else would like to come up. I tried to look on here and to see if they wanted to pass the sentencing a little bit early, but they haven't. So we're gonna have to just simply wait till Friday for that sentencing, and I'll be on the lookout for that one. I think they said in the video that they probably going to do it around 10 a.m. Eastern time, so I will be on the lookout for that. Look, the odds were always against her anyway, to be quite honest. Like when I first looked at that, at first I was a bit like, I don't know. They're giving her a lot of protection. They're giving her a lot of wiggle room here to work. But then as time went on and I started to like think about it and like reflect, I said, I have the strongest feeling that she's not going to walk from this like she thinks she is. And I'm glad my hunch was correct. Too bad I'm not a betting man. IMV says they don't play when it comes to harming elderly people. She's going to prison for a long time. Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, like we'll wait till Friday, see what kind of sentencing she's going to get. But I'm going to ask the chat. Throw out a number. What not number you think she deserves, but what number, how many number of years do you think she's going to get? I just want to see what figures y'all are going to throw out there. Don't throw out there what you think she should get, but throw out there what you think she's going to get. Kid Gravity said 35. 50, I'm saying 50, 15, 5. Code Red, keep in mind, one of those charges carries 15 years. I want y'all to keep that in mind. Someone said that malice charge carries 15 years, so it couldn't be anything less than 15. 20, 15 minimal, 28, 10, 30 to life 4, 25 to life, 60 to life, 10 years, 20, 25. Yolanda said Edward said ever take the 4 off. Jaded Libra said 30. I'm saying 25, 30, 69. Candle said Flames, daughter of Zion said is a minimum 15. The malice charge is 15. As a matter of fact, while I'm on here, let me go ahead and actually pull up the actual charges she was convicted of so we can get a better look at it. Because I know when you hear it, it's kind of hard to gauge what exactly she was guilty of, because you got to like really pay attention to it. So let me see if, because I saw one site that had a list of the charges that she was found guilty of. I'm trying to see if I can find it on here. It was a list. Okay, I found it, y'all. Let me go ahead and share my screen right quick. Hold on right quick, Ether. I'm going to bring you on, but I want to share my screen right quick so people can see exactly what she's being charged, what she was found guilty of. So as y'all can see it right there on the screen, there it is right there. So on count 1, it was for malice of murder, what she was found guilty of. Count 2 was felony murder, which of course she was found guilty of. Count 3, aggravated assault. Count 4, felony murder. Count 5, false imprisonment. Count 6, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. Count 7, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. And count 8, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. So count 6 through 8 are pretty much the same thing, but she got found guilty 3 different times on the same charge. I was also trying to look up and see what the Georgia codes are, like how do they sentence for particular charges down there in Georgia. But while I'm doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and bring Ether up. Ether, what's going on?
What's up? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for bringing me on the stage, man. It's my first time talking to you, but I do follow your videos and I like what you do, man, and I appreciate you.
Oh, no problem. Appreciate you.
Man, look, I live in South Fulton, down here, and I actually live really close to Clayton County. Like, where I live at is really more so on the border of those 2 counties. So this incident, when it happened, I knew exactly where it was. I'm about 10 to 15 minutes away from that location.
Mhm.
And from where that happened, it's interstate that'll take you 285. Either you're gonna go east or south. So it's right there at the interstate, and then it's a very busy intersection over there. And so, and from my understanding, the guy was having a medical complications,
Yeah.
and he was trying to hurry up and get to that hospital, and he was trying to take the main route to get there. So when I saw this, you know, some people didn't understand how close to home that was for a lot of us. But I saw on the news a couple days ago
Mm-hmm.
was these guys that was trying to I guess the lawyers and everybody brought out their bootlegs, and they was like, oh, you know, they had this old man up there, this isn't about race. And then, you know, one of the lawyers was like, look behind me, you see all of my black friends here. And there was a bunch of Negroes, and I'm like, where are they getting these foods from, man?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? Ain't no way, because, you know, black folks down here, we don't really play like that,
Right.
you know,
You
for the
remember what
most.
happened? Remember what happened? Remember what I was wondering, was you ready to say it? I'm gonna wait till you say it.
No, go ahead.
Ahmaud Arbery.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, for the most part, white people know how to act over here, because we don't play that shit, to be honest with you. um I can't I don't I cannot think of a time where white folks would just openly act out like that, and
Mm-hmm.
black folks just sit back and just ho and hum and everything like that. I can't think of a time out of all the time that I lived down here.
Right.
Yeah, this and for the most part, man, I already knew that the jury was gonna be on code. You know, they tried their best to, because I mean, you know, I ain't gonna say we ain't got no cooning down here. You know, I ain't gonna
Right.
say that, but it's not. I don't see any blatant betrayals like, you know, Tammy the Mammy. You
Mm.
know, from what's his name, uh John. What I guess that was his name. I can't remember.
Botham John.
Yes, yes, yes. That
Yeah,
we don't have that.
between her and his brother, I don't know who was worse.
Yeah, man. It's way different down here, man. Way different. And she should have known better. She had her own damn business, like you said. Because like, what the hell kind of shit is that?
Mm-hmm.
You don't just go off and just be detective and you
Yeah, and
want to be rogue, you want to be Batgirl,
yeah,
you know, for no
yeah,
reason, for what?
yeah. I was looking it up because when I typed in malice murder, because I was trying to see what kind of sentencing does a person get just for that alone. Um, and they brought up in Georgia, they said a conviction for malice murder is uh life imprisonment without the possibility of parole or even a possibility of the death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Mm-hmm.
the first. That was the first thing they read off, was her being found guilty of malice murder. She has also that felony murder, and she has that on count 2 and count 4.
Yep.
So you got to think, with her having 2 counts of being found guilty on felony murder and a count of malice murder, just those 3 alone, she's probably done.
Yep. And
Just
Georgia
just
law is
on
very
just
strict.
those 3 alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Georgia law is very strict. And you did a good job pointing out the amount of bailiffs who were in there that was black. Man,
Because every last one of them was black. Every last
yeah,
one of them was.
yeah, man. We don't really have a bunch of white cops patrolling us like that down here. It's mainly a bunch of black folks. Some of
Mhm.
them that I know personally. You know, um, we don't really have a big of an issue with black cops and police brutality and stuff like that, because for the most part we know these folks.
Mhm.
Um, if I saw a white cop acting up, you know, on one of the major highways and everything like that, and black that was around the meeting spot, we would have Hebrew Israelites on that spot every weekend. So when people saw that, they went ahead, they checked that cop real quick. Right. He
Right.
was just he was just messing with a random citizen one day. So yeah, you know, I guess we got a sort of an understanding down here.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I bet that was a real shocker for her, because uh I don't know, maybe she's from the backwoods part of Clayton County. I don't know why she thought that was cool, but she learned today.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. But that's all I wanted to add on, man. I appreciate your work, man.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Peace
Thank
out.
you. Thank you for coming up. All right. Shout out to Ether for coming up. And with that being said, y'all, we are going to bring this stream right here to a close. It is pretty much almost 12:50. That's pretty much the gauge where I wanted to have it at. But shout out to everybody that came through. There's a lot of people in here on a Wednesday afternoon on hump day, and what a glorious hump day it is. You know, glad to bring this bit of news to y'all. Shout out to the people who contributed. Shout out to V Vinny for this $100 super chat. Amazingly. Thank you. Also, shout out to, I believe it was some chick named Star that also cash out me as well. Shout out to her. Shout out to everybody that came up. We will be back on here tomorrow with the 11 a.m. Eastern time video. Be sure to be on the lookout for that premiere window later on today. And again, we're going to keep an eye on this sentencing. That'll come out on Friday. And once we find out what that is, of course, I will incorporate that into my Friday live stream at 6. So with that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe and be one.